Hello and welcome to the X-Men Slumber Party. We're gonna just have a great time gabbing and giggling all about our favorite X-Men. I've got a whole panel of really fun X fans for you, and we cannot wait to talk about everything X. So I'll start. My name is Chandler Poling. I am a co-host of the podcast X Reads with my cohort, Chris Riley. Chris, why don't you take it from here?
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Riley, and I am also a co-host of X Reads the podcast, where we dive into all of the vintage X-Men comics.
And I'm Jake Wallace. I run an X-Men book club / social club out here in Los Angeles.
And I'm Khelan, and I'm a co-host of Homo Superior, a DC-based podcast about 5 gay nerds that talk about X-Men and other nerdy things.
I'm Regina, and I help co-host X is for Podcast. I'm also an admin on the House of X Facebook group, and I'm also known as the Red Queen of X.
Hi, I'm Amanda Lynne. I'm a huge X-Men fan, and that usually comes out through cosplay. And I've also been on the cover of Extraordinary X-Men #1, so you might recognize me from an X-Men book.
I'm Dylan. I am also a co-host on X is for Podcast, and I'm the creator of the Facebook group House of X.
All right, welcome guys. I'm so excited to have you all here. We're all big X fans. Now wait, Amanda, tell me about this. What is this cover that you're on? I didn't know this.
Back in about 2014, Marvel did a series of cosplay covers for some of their #1 all new Marvel comics that they were doing. And I was Jean Grey on the cover of Extraordinary X-Men #1. It was all new Jean in her green and white suit. It was really fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, let's just start with you. Who is your favorite X character and why?
Unsurprisingly, my favorite X-Men character is Jean Grey, but specifically Jean as the Phoenix. I just love the way her character is transformed so many times over the many different stories.
That's awesome. Jake, who's your favorite X character?
Oof, a hard one because I really love Mr. Sinister, but if I have to pick a favorite, it's going to be Jamie Madrox. He's just a total nutcase. Yes, I know, I love the shirt. He's just a total nutcase, and I love the idea that all of his dupes represent these different pieces of his personality that are kind of, when they're all put together as one, kind of tearing him apart inside. And I just really love the X Factor series that he was the star of about 10 years ago. It's just such a weird, dark, fun book that I love to go back and revisit. Awesome.
Well, speaking of multiple man, Khelan, why don't you tell us?
So, ironically, Multiple Man is not my favorite, although I do love Madrox so much. I just love this t-shirt, and we use it as a cosplay costume last year when all of Homo Superior went to FlameCon. But my favorite is Emma Frost, because nothing is better than a reformed villain who's kind of a reluctant hero. She gets the best lines, she has the most agency, and she can turn into a diamond. What's not to love?
Totally, I love it. And Regina?
Can I have a tie? Okay, my top favorite X person is Rogue. I feel a lot of kinship and connection with her because of her powers. She can't really touch people. And when I was introduced to the X-Men, she was one of the characters that I could really identify with. I was very shy and withdrawn, and I was kind of a weird kid. So other people, maybe I couldn't relate to them the way that I can relate to other people that I've met since then. And also Moonstar, and I gave a whole treatise on House of X about that, so watch that.
Well, if your favorite character is Rogue, I have a very special guest that's waiting to join us in our panel right now. Let's let her in. Well, while she's connecting to audio, I am so excited to have our special surprise guest. Who is that?
Oh my God.
You look about as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite Rogue line!
This is Lenore Zann, the voice
Well,
of
howdy.
the X-Men We're so excited to have you, Lenore. Thank you for
Oh
being
my
here.
gosh.
It's
Wow.
great to be here.
So awesome.
Gotta love Zoom, don't you?
Yeah, I'm so
I
glad
am
you could just
shook.
pop in.
I love the costume. I love it. It's my rogue costume. Good for you, girl.
Right.
Hey,
Well, I don't know if you could see. Now, Lenore, what do you love about Rogue? Tell us what you love about her.
Well, she is the strongest woman in the universe, sugar. And but she's very soft-hearted and compassionate, and she wants to just make the world a better place, and she doesn't understand why people just can't get along. And she will fight for the underdog, and hey, that's all right by me. I love it.
Yeah. Do you guys have
Yeah.
any questions for Lenore while she's here with us?
What was your favorite line that you,
Yeah.
your favorite part of dialogue when you recorded Rogue in the animated series?
My daddy liked to kill himself when he found out I was a mutant.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
Get out of my mind. Yeah,
Awesome.
I loved that whole episode of A Rogue's Tale, where you get to see my backstory, right, for the first time, and find out, that she was really lonely and vulnerable and kicked out of her parents' house when she was young and didn't know who she was, and made to feel like she was different, but and then suddenly he called out, Professor X called out and said, hey, we have a place where you can come, where you can feel at home and you are welcome, and we're all together here, right? I just love that. I get goosebumps even now just saying those words. I think it's a great message for the world right now.
Well,
Absolutely.
awesome. Lenore, you are a real life superhero right now because you were elected into the Canadian Parliament recently, weren't you?
What? I was.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Say what? Yes, indeed. Hello. Yes, I am a member of Parliament now in Ottawa in Canada. Right now I'm at my home in Nova Scotia because of COVID-19. We all got sent home, and we've been doing virtual Parliament online with Zoom. And it's been very interesting, doing that. I mean, it's changing everything, right? The way we do things. But I'm very proud to have been elected and to fight, for the people who need help the most. And against racism and against sexism and against people who are homophobic. And so I think I'm in a very good place. I think I'm in a really good place right now, and I'm just really pleased to be here and have my constituents support, and of course the fans. Where would we be without the fans?
Yeah.
I love you all.
Well, thank you so much. Regina here she's a big fan of Rogue, so I introduced you just as she was saying how much she loves Rogue.
Oh my gosh, is she the one wearing the costume?
She's wearing a different costume, the blue shirt.
Oh,
But
okay.
but say hi, Regina, so your face pops up. Say hi.
Hi, Regina. Oh, hello.
Stop being shy, Regina.
It's great to see you.
Lenore, I just have to tell you, I actually grew up in Alabama, and every once in a while my Southern accent comes out. I've gotten a little bit more Midwestern since then, but I was a huge fan of your work when I was a little girl, and I am so starstruck right now. I'm sweating.
Aww. Well, I'm on Twitter, at Zann Lenore. It's just my name. So you can just tweet me anytime, sugar, and I'll tweet you right back as soon as I see it. Okay?
That sounds
I love that so
amazing.
much.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Any of you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lenore. I really appreciate your time, and enjoy your beautiful home in Nova Scotia.
Thank you. And
Thank you,
for
Lenore.
doing this for the fans. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to meet y'all.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank you.
Lenore.
Thanks. This was awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys.
I'm
Wasn't that a
shook.
fun surprise?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That was amazing.
That was awesome.
I
I'm
know.
literally
Stop the
sweating,
show
you
right
guys.
now.
I know. And wait a minute. We have another person waiting to join our
Oh
group.
my
Let's see
God.
who it might
Oh
be.
my gosh.
Oh,
Well. Now let's see. He's connecting to audio, so I want to wait for his his Zoom
Oh
to
my
connect.
God, I cannot believe that we just talked to Rogue of X-Men the Animated Series.
I give it the line she did when she came in is my favorite Rogue line. I love I will still, if you hand me a Rogue action figure, I'll be like, look, nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Oh my God, I love
Wait,
her.
you guys, look it. It's our new guest. Let's see if we can hear from him. Cal?
Yes.
Cal,
You
what do
repeat that?
you have to say for yourself? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Well, great, Cal. You are in our X-Men Slumber Party panel, and we're so excited to have you.
Yes.
Let me
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
look.
Start
Oh,
my
that's good.
video.
There you go.
There you
There he is.
I don't see me. Oh, I'm here.
You are here.
You're looking at this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's incidental. This guy, back off.
Awesome.
See,
Yeah,
and I
we're
wanted
so
to-
excited to
when
have
I-
you.
Are we okay? Like, if you have guests there and stuff, did I screw up the intro?
No, you're good.
No.
Come on in.
Okay,
You're great.
Because you remember how we rehearsed this, which is like,
Yes.
oh, that's so long ago. I've had a haircut since then, so I'm all screwed up. I'm like Samson without my hair. So I was gonna have it full on Wolverine, of course, and go like, I know what you're thinking, punk. Question is, because you said they would always have me on video.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear your favorite Wolverine line.
Oh no, are we going now?
We're going. We're on.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah,
in our panel.
I know. Hold on. Weird. I know what you're thinking, punk. Question is, can I get Wolverine before he turns me into shish kebab with those claws? Well, Bob, seeing as how these claws are adamantium, the strongest metal known, and can slice through vanadium steel like a hot knife through butter, buddy. You gotta ask yourself, do I feel lucky?
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Love that.
That dude.
Great. That was
I can't even look at myself. I look so, the hair, I just gotta, like, it was down to here because of the COVID thing, and I couldn't take it any longer. I went to some foreign lady. I said, just do whatever you want with it.
Yes. It looks good. It looks good, Cal. How have you been?
Yeah.
How is your pool?
Good
Your
answer.
Pool looks amazing.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Keep
Well-
in mind, he's with me.
Yeah. What do
Okay,
you love
so-
about Wolverine? Tell me, Cal. What do you love about Wolverine?
Oh, just about everything, especially that I did the voice.
Yeah.
I told you. Because, and he always had the best line. What I love about Wolverine is that, and I think it's for sure, he was such a lonely soul who just wanted to be loved and accepted. And for God's sakes, could I please get a woman that'll stay with me? No, every one of them. Lady Deathstrike, they all found something peculiar with him. and Kimiko, and I love that episode. And they were asking me, the writers and producers, when we were recording it, saying, would it be Kimiko or Kimiko? And I grew up living beside Bob Kobayashi, and I took karate and judo with his father. Ran the whole karate and judo institute in our town, and I grew up with this Japanese guy. So and he named his daughter Kimiko. So as opposed to Kimiko. But there was a big discussion when we were recording. I'm really, geez, what's so big about this discussion?
So, guys, panel, do you have any questions for Cal? Do you have any questions?
But other than that, I really don't like anything about Wolverine. Wolverine at all. Except that he is funny, and he is funny, and I told you that story about, and every one of his his best lines are in the first 2 episodes. I've been watching them again as I got them on Blu-ray. Don't even get me with the text. Whatever it is, I got like the DVD, and I watched them. And the first 2 episodes I couldn't get over. All his best lines are in the first 2 episodes. You know, when Wingnut dies. You know,
Wingnut.
yeah, I mean, you know. I was going to say Sabretooth, but like all the best lines, like tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. That's just, and then I go where I want to go. It's like about twice in the first 2 episodes.
This is so awesome.
I'm sending you back to Oz in peace.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Great line. What a great line. Like, who wrote, I mean, I know who wrote it. And they were fantastic. The writers were unbelievable. Like, Tim Woodman, I'm sending you back to Oz in peace.
Right.
And I go where I want to go and like tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. And then this famous line, which no one ever remembers, but it's the first thing when they're looking for Jubilee. Like she just arrived at the home, for God's sakes, and she's lost. And they're all Storm and Rogue and Beast. And Wolverine jumps down from a tree to, like, you know, because he was supposed to be looking for her. Well, which he was, because he loved Jubilee. And he jumped down and they said, so what, whatever they said, like, so what'd you find? And Wolverine says, set went cold outside of the building. They said, but before they could even ask him another question, he said, got bit by a dog too. Like, that's Donovan. That's Donovan, but he was just so funny. Like, oh, by the way, I got bit by a dog too. It's been a tough day.
Awesome. Well, Cal, I really
one of my other favorite lines, because I just love it, because he's very much like me. But when they wakes up, they woke him up because there was an emergency in the war room or something stupid like that, which he would think like would be stupid. In the war room, like, you need to eat for that. And he wakes up and he runs by Professor Xavier and he says, this better be good. Because I get, oh, this better be good, because I get angry when I don't get my sleep. Like he's not angry all the time.
Right.
Oh my God, this better be good, because I get angry when I get upset when I'm misquoting him.
That's all good. Cal, thank you so much for joining us. We love that you crashed our slumber party, and we really appreciate your time and your amazing Wolverine lines. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for this surprise.
Yeah. Bye.
What a treat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh
my God.
Dodd of X-Men, the animated series. He played Wolverine. Oh my God.
I forgot about that dog biting line.
I did too.
My friends and I will quote the Wolverine and Cyclops lines back and forth to each other. Like it's just like a running joke with us. We won't like out of nowhere we'll just like start quoting them. So that was really great.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked our
awesome.
special guest surprises. And I feel like we still haven't finished off who our favorite X characters are. I mean, I'm still on a little bit of a high of our special guests, but yeah. I love the nostalgia rush of it all. You know, when you hear those voices, it's so incredible.
So good.
Right.
That was awesome.
All right, now who's left? Who hasn't told us? Dylan, you haven't said.
I'm still left.
I wonder who he's gonna say.
My favorite character is Warpath. I didn't say it earlier, but to most people online, I'm known as Warpath Dylan. Warpath is this big, just muscly dude full of heart and love, and I relate to that because he's had a crappy love life and pretty much a crappy life altogether. And yeah, he just has a big heart, and that's why I like him. He's hot too.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris, what about you? We haven't heard from you.
Well, my favorite X-Men of all time is Emma Frost. And, you know, it goes back to me being in junior high and loving the Marvel Masterpiece trading cards and seeing her image just so full of power. And she was so in charge. She used her sexuality as her power, and she displayed it with no shame. And that really helped me come to terms with my sexuality and, you know, coming out of the closet. And it led to this, you know, big adventure. Like, for instance, Lady Gaga's fashion designer did my first cosplay, which was Emma Frost, and that went viral everywhere. And I just remember being in junior high and like for instance, does anybody remember that pilot that happened with the X-Men?
Yeah, Generation X in the 90s.
Like, that came out around the time that, I first discovered Emma Frost, and she was in that pilot too. So I just remember her character being so special and empowering to me. So, growing up, and I carried that with me my entire life. Like, Emma Frost is still today my spirit animal.
Aww.
My favorite character is Kitty Pryde. I love her because she is always like, people do not expect or see her coming. Like, she is the underdog in a lot of situations. She only has a defensive power, but she uses it so smartly. She also is a big nerd, and I love that she's a big nerd because she loves like computers and ElfQuest and all this stuff. And so, yeah, I think Kitty's fantastic. Any other Kitty fans out there? No? Yes? Maybe not.
I love Kitty.
Of course. Kitty's fantastic.
I love Kate Pryde. Let's
Oh,
just say that.
yeah.
Kate Pryde.
That
Pride
scene
is so much
when
fun.
it's like right after Kitty joins the X-Men, the first time she's in the Danger Room, and she's like the only student who ever defeats the Danger Room on her first try, basically, is just one of my favorites. And I feel like it's such like what that scene represented has been such a part of the character for the last 30-40 years.
Yeah. You don't see her coming.
Yeah,
because I love Wolverine cracks
unexpected.
up in that scene because he's just like, oh my god, all the money and time that goes into the stage room, and she just walks right through it.
And she destroys it.
Now, you guys, what do you guys think of? Are you reading the comics? Are you up to date? What do you think of Jonathan Hickman's Dawn of X relaunch? This is kind of a whole new era in comics. So I'm just curious. Shout out. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I just think, I have been reading X-Men, like every X series as it comes out. I mean, I've been reading X-Men since the 90s, but since like college, so 16-ish years ago when Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men was coming out, it's kind of what pulled me back in, and I just started reading every X title every week as it was published. And this is the most excited I've been about X-Men comics since then. Like, I just think they're pretty much all firing on all cylinders, and like having read Hickman's runs on Fantastic Four and Avengers and his Secret Wars, which I think is the best Marvel like event ever. I can't wait to see where it goes because, I reread those long runs that he did on other Marvel titles and kind of compared them to where we are in his X-Men run, and I was like, oh, nothing has even happened yet compared to whatever he's planning. So
right,
exciting, and it's such a good place. I have friends who've kind of fallen off, and I've bought many of them the House of X Powers of 10 hardcover because I'm like, just jump in. Like, you're going to be a little confused by what's happening, but so are all of we. Like, it'll eventually all reveal itself.
I think part of being an X fan is being a little confused at any given time. So if you're not, then you're not doing X-Men right. But I completely agree with you, Jake. I've been reading X-Men since like the 80s. So like I started with 199, which had Rachel on the cover as when she first became the Phoenix. And then I really got into it during the Inferno era. And then like sporadically just like throughout the last, 30 some odd years. The 2010s was kind of not a great time to be an X fan. I mean, there were some good books, but there were some really like kind of very mediocre books. And once Hickman started, I remember like being so excited for House of X and Powers of 10, and then reading House of X #2, the Moira issue, the Lives of Moira 10. I was blown away. I think it's probably one of the most well-crafted comics I think I've ever written, from the story, the dialogue, the significance, and the art. It's just beautiful. And I think Dawn of X, while there's been some hits and misses, overall, I haven't been this excited for the X book since maybe the early 2000s when Morrison was writing New X-Men.
Wow, that's some really high praise. And I do definitely agree with you. I see some similarities in the way it seems to be resetting everything. And that's what I love about the series so much. It has such a sci-fi twist that in so many ways it feels really different. And as a longtime X-Men fan, I actually don't know what's coming next. All my favorite characters are here. And one of the coolest things is that even some of those deep cut fan favorite characters have been making reappearances in some of these books, which is really cool to see. And everything is just so unexpected and fresh. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, I gotta say, I have been studying spirituality lately, and in the new run of X-Men with Hickman, there is a lot of spirituality layered in and weaved into the story. So, like reincarnation, and do you remember that issue where they talk about the Dominion and everything that's going on in the universe? So there's a lot of spiritual aspects, and I'm eating every issue up. It is so good.
Yeah, I've gotten in the habit of, with a lot of them, like reading the issue and then an hour or two later reading it again, because there's just so much packed into every script. And like Amanda was saying, he has a plan for every single character that's ever been a part of X-Men. I know he's got a list somewhere, and if we haven't seen them yet, he knows exactly where they are and what they're up to and what he's going to reference that the fans are going to love and what he's going to change about them to do something new and exciting. And it's a lot, but in the best way.
Hey, Khelan and Chris, by the way, sorry to interrupt you, Dylan. I know you guys say that you love Emma Frost so much, and I just want to introduce that we have another special guest joining us. So get ready. We should be having Finola Hughes, who played the White Queen in the Generation X pilot. So,
oh my God.
Can you hear us?
Oh my God, Regina's gonna freak out because she loves Charmed.
This is so exciting.
Oh,
hello.
God.
Hello.
Hi, wow.
Hi, how is everyone?
So
amazing.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Let me see. I'm gonna put it on. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can just get you all on gallery view. There we go.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. You were so
Hi.
awesome. As you're our, Chris and I on the panel here, we run a podcast. We were just talking about how you're the best Emma Frost ever on camera.
Really?
Like, you really need
yeah.
to. Yeah, we need you back.
Yes, for sure.
Every time I think of Emma Frost in my head and I read the books, I think of you.
Yes.
Yes.
It's funny. Like, I really wanted the role, and I wasn't as cognizant of the character. And I went for my first audition, and then they said, we want to see you a second time. So I was like, okay. So I went for the second audition, and then I got a call saying, yeah, we want you to play the role. So then I was like, oh, I better go to a comic store and find out what she looks like. And I go to this store, and I'm like, do you have anything on the X-Men? And I need to find out about Emma Frost. And they sort of handed me a bunch of really cool comics. And I'm like, oh no, she's blonde. And I had to get my eyebrows dyed, and they made this fantastic wig. And yeah, so I didn't find out until after the fact that she had white
Well,
hair.
you look good as a blonde.
I thought you were going to say, oh no, she's half naked.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the outfit?
How are we going to do that? Yes, I remember the wardrobe fitting for that too. I was like, this is what I'm wearing. Basically, it's underwear. Okay, fine. And but anyway, I managed
We
to learn
recently rewatched your pilot, your Generation X pilot, of a couple of friends of ours that are on this panel together. And so it's just so great to see you after just watching that pilot just like last week. It's so much fun. Now, how can we convince Marvel to bring you back? Would you come back?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
It was really, I got to meet Stan Lee too. That was the highlight.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
He was on the set a lot because it was their first trial. They were just kind of playing around to see if this franchise was going to take off. I wonder if it will take off.
I don't know. They're still waiting. you guys have any
Yeah.
questions for Finola while she's here with us?
Do you remember the issue of Emma Frost of the X-Men or Generation X that you read to get to know Emma Frost?
Do I remember what?
The comic book that you got to like get to know the character. Do you remember like what like kind of struck you about it, or what?
I
like,
got
made
like
you...
I got two of them. Oh, she was just badass. I mean,
Yeah.
end of. I mean, I was like, oh, okay, sure. I think I can go with this. And also poised, and I really liked and sort of what happened was because we had, you know, the mutants, and because there were all the kids, I got really close to these children. They were young, very young, but teenagers, I suppose. And hang on, my teenagers just walked in. Yes. Yes, they are. Yes. They're not quite as obedient as the mutants, but still. The authorities frown on it otherwise. So what I really liked was just kind of like the teaching aspect of it. You know, I was teaching them how to work with their gifts. I kind of really dug that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was such a good cast, though. I don't know if you followed up on any of those actors. They're like really good. Like everybody was. Like it was just, you know, the Canadian guy, because we shot it in Canada. Jeremy, I think his name was. Is that right? Do you have a cast list there?
I don't have a cast list handy, but I do remember looking up the actors on IMDb and just seeing that everybody has been so busy, including yourself.
Yeah.
Clearly. You've been very busy on projects.
Excuse me while I'm just going to look it up, because my dog's barking now, for goodness sake. Come on.
That's a very Emma way to say it.
I was going to say this is so awesome because now we know what Emma sounds like yelling at her dog.
I can just send like death rays through the door. Yeah, Jeremy Ratchford, that was his name. And Heather McComb, fantastic.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she was
Heather's wonderful. I still stay in touch with her. Suzanne Davis. Randall Slavin, he actually became a superb photographer.
Really?
Yeah, like really top-notch photographer. And I really liked him. I remember he and Heather and I were very close. And Jeremy, we kind of made it a little, yeah. It was fun.
That is so much fun.
Great experience.
Great, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to crash our slumber party and talk about X-Men.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, if you know, it's a wonderful franchise. Do you collect the comics and stuff? Do you guys?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have?
All of them. I've been personally collecting all of the original, Uncanny X-Men run. I'm trying to collect as much of the original issues, which are quite expensive, but you know, I'm slowly chipping away through eBay, so I get a nice collection of the old run of Uncanny X-Men.
And Chandler actually gave me his collection of the Emma Frost title, so I have the whole Emma Frost series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she got her own comic book run, and I've read it, so I thought I'm going to give it to Chris. Because what you didn't hear before you joined the panel is that Chris and Khelan are Emma Frost is their best character. They love her so much, and so you were a nice big surprise to them because they love her.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Well, you know, enjoy. I think that she hasn't really had her own movie at this point, has she?
No, they tried to introduce her with January Jones, and in my opinion, it didn't quite work. So we still default to you as the ultimate Emma Frost on screen.
The best Emma Frost.
Thank you.
Sure.
I mean, January Jones is not too shabby at all. She's pretty. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Oh my God.
Who else do you have as a surprise guest? Because I don't think my heart can take it.
It wouldn't
I'm
be a
totally
surprise.
dead.
Just talking how important she was to the evolution of my life. She was, oh my gosh, this was really exciting.
Do you imagine
Oh
if
my
she was
God,
Emma
Chris.
in First Class instead of January Jones? Totally different
Oh my
character.
god.
Totally
Oh.
different.
She would have been like
Totally.
killed it. Like
I've always wanted to
People-
know if in First Class, like, everyone involved just didn't quite know what Emma was supposed to be, or if it was just January, because it was just wrong.
Yeah.
it was
It
very.
wasn't Emma Frost.
It was a missed opportunity, and as much as I really like First Class, I think it's got a lot of wonderful elements to it. Yeah, that's just a glaring like misfire on every possible way.
Yep.
Yeah, so since we're on movies, what do you guys think about the movies? I mean, from the original launch in the 2000s to now, like, where are you feeling about it? What about Dark Phoenix?
Oh,
You know what? I did not hate Dark Phoenix.
I didn't hate Dark
I
Phoenix
haven't
either.
seen an X-Men movie that I've really hated, to be honest. So Dark Phoenix, I think was okay. We got to see a couple really cool scenes with Jean, and that's really all I wanted out of that whole movie.
I
Yeah.
want to see the Dark Phoenix they originally shot, because allegedly they changed the entire third act because it was too similar to Captain Marvel. Because the third act is where that movie completely loses me. I'm just like, nothing that's happening totally makes sense, and then it's just kind of over, which is very, like, the Dark Phoenix saga is like the biggest climax in X-Men history, and the movie just kind of ends. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how did it originally end?
I will agree with Amanda that Dark Phoenix was better than I thought it was going to be, because I went in with very low expectations. But I was so angry after Apocalypse. Apocalypse like frustrated me as a movie, and I love the 80s, and I love that whole aesthetic, and I love like what they were going to try to do with it. I think it had a really strong cast, and they were going to bring in like Nightcrawler again. They're going to bring in Storm again. And I remember walking out, I'm like, what did I just watch? And it's like heartbreaking as an X fan seeing that movie.
I'm a person who is loud about not liking the movies. I think it's just, I really, really love the comics so much. I am happy that in the movies, a lot of the characters, like Amanda said, do get like really awesome time to shine. It's just, they don't have the history to go with the character while they're
Right.
shining.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Warpath's a great example of that. Like, he's super cool in Days of Future Past, but has no personality or storyline.
Right, just a bruiser, which is, again, another missed opportunity. I will say the one X-Men movie that I think is really good is Logan.
Oh, Logan's so good.
Logan is like, I mean, it's a Western film. It's so well shot. I think it's Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart at their best. And, you know, they were like some of the better actors from the original X-Men films. But like most of them are just really not great. And I'll just say, this is not to put a cloud over this conversation, but like watching anything directed by Bryan Singer right now just makes it really tough. Just one, being a gay man and seeing like what a sexual predator he was. It's hard to watch his stuff and separate the art from the artist.
Right. Especially, and the most frustrating thing is like he directed most of the good ones. So it's like, great, the ones I actually liked, now I feel weird watching.
Right.
I'm just so ready for them to be in the MCU. Like, Marvel's done such a good job with almost every movie and every character that they've done in the MCU. And I think they're in a weird position with the X-Men, because they have to figure out how to introduce mutants. They have to figure out sort of how to do it without just rehashing the Charles and Magneto stuff and overdoing Wolverine like Fox did. But I think, you know, they've had to figure out how to do some hard things before and nailed it. So I'm kind of enjoying this little breather we're having from the X-Men movies, but I'm so ready for Marvel to like actually properly make X-Men movies.
I kind of hope that they don't start with a movie. They start with like a Disney Plus series. Because I think X-Men works better like as in a serialized format rather than a standalone film. I want the soap opera. I want the.
I honestly
the
just want
long-
X-Men to be a TV show. Like, I don't need
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, agreed.
If they've
And
got the
Gifted
budget, then
was-
I'm here for it.
Yeah, The Gifted was an interesting, like it was okay, like the first season, and then it just went off the rails in the second season. But I think if you put some real, time, money, and like talent behind it, it could be a phenomenal series.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely get quieter. I mean, there's obviously going to be X-Men movies. It's too big of a franchise for them not to capitalize on it. But I think as super fans, we're going to get a lot of what we want from future like X-Men Disney Plus series, because that's where they're going to put the side characters and the weirder stories, and then have, the things that in X-Men comics are like the crossovers will be what the movies are. But I think we're going to get so much great stuff on Disney Plus.
Completely agree. Hopefully X Factor Investigations as a series.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I love that, because it doesn't even, most episodes of that wouldn't need near the budget that like an actual X-Men TV show would. And
For
just
sure.
find quintuplets that are all actors. There's
It's not
Jamie.
that hard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Perfect.
Regina,
Well,
we haven't heard from you. Yeah, tell us about
I know.
your favorite movie.
Well, Bryan Singer notwithstanding, the way that I try to look at it is there are a lot of different moving parts to the movies. There's the actors involved. There's all the people who did some of the work behind the scenes. And I'm not going to look at them with like a bad taste in my mouth just because he was involved with that. I loved the first X-Men movie. When I went to see it at the theater, I brought my parents, I brought my husband, I brought my kids, I brought my brother-in-law. Like, I was so excited because I'd been waiting for it for so long. And then just to see them, even though maybe it wasn't like the greatest movie compared to the MCU, we would not have had the MCU without the first X-Men movies coming out.
Absolutely.
And I loved the costume design specifically for Sabretooth in that movie. He looked amazing. Even though he didn't talk that much, he looked great. And so I really enjoyed the first couple of movies. I was not impressed with X3. There were things that I loved about it, but they were trying to do too much with that movie. It would have been better if they had just focused on one main storyline instead of trying to shoehorn the Dark Phoenix in there. I actually have not finished watching Logan. I did not enjoy it. I know I'm the minority. Don't kill me.
How do we kick her out?
I think it's kind of like when I was watching like Planet of the Apes. I had just gotten burnt out on dystopian fantasies, and I just needed a break from that. And it was so bleak. It was beautiful and it was great, but I was at a point where I was like, for my mental health, I'm turning this off. I'm going to come back to it later.
That's
So
fair.
I haven't gotten back to it, but I'm planning to go back soon. So
Awesome. Hey, you guys, we have to wrap up our panel in just a few minutes to keep in time. Sorry, our special guest ate into all of our X-Men Gab time. I hope you guys didn't mind. Just
Yeah,
for
that's
surprise
fine.
Not at all.
appearances.
Great.
Very with that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad that we were able to have this fun, slumber party to talk about X-Men. And I just want to thank everybody for watching for the Comic-Con at home. And if you guys love X-Men, please connect with us on social media. You can find me at Chandler Polling. That's ChandlerPoling. Where can they find you, Khelan?
They can find us at Homo Superior Podcast X on Twitter or Homo Superior on Instagram.
Awesome. Dylan?
You can find me on Instagram at Warpath_Dylan. That's spelled DYLAN. Or you could find me on Facebook at my X-Men Facebook group that we mentioned, House of X. Or you can find me and Regina on the podcast that we're on that's called X is for Podcast.
Nice. Jake?
You can find me on Instagram at _the_snake, which if you can see my name on Zoom is right there. And if you're in LA and ever want to go and have drinks and talk about X-Men, hit me up and we'll invite you to our little club.
Yes, it's a really fun club. I'm a member. Regina, where can we find you?
you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Red Queen of X, and also on Facebook at House of X with Dylan.
And Amanda.
Hi, I'm on Instagram as @RealAmandaLynne, and I have a website. It's amanda-lynne.net. So everything's there.
And last but not least, Chris.
Hey, you can find me on Instagram at Xtopher Riley. That's a big X, like Christopher Riley. And also, you can find me and Chandler with our podcast, X Reads Podcast, at X Reads Podcast.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Guys, thank
Bye.
So much. It was awesome. I had so much fun. Bye.
you.